So it's come to my attention quite a lot of managers are going to be activating the free hit chip in game week 2, so I have created what I think is the best team for this game week. So just getting straight into it, as you can see, I'm starting off with David Raya in goal. Now I think versus Leeds at home is a very strong fixture. I understand Leeds did win, I understand they kept a clean sheet, but going to the Emirates versus at Ellen Road is going to be a lot different, and I think we know that. And my thought process behind it is if Arsenal can go to Old Trafford and keep a clean sheet, surely they can do it versus Leeds at the Emirates. So yeah, I've gone for double Arsenal defence. As you can see, I still think Gabriel is the better defender, just because really that obviously they had a lot to do in that United game. They were very defensive. United were attacking a lot, so I highly doubt the defensive contributions are going to come like that every game, so I would still pick Gabriel. Someone like Calafiori, you wouldn't be surprised if Lewis Skelly started, so I definitely wouldn't go near him. Mark Cucurella, again, West Ham looked absolutely dreadful, to be honest. As again, they will be playing at home, they could be better, but I just think Mark Cucurella is a great asset he's more attacking than Cole Palmer at the minute, to be honest, so definitely a good asset. Trufer, obviously, we saw how attacking he was in that first game versus Liverpool. And I think against someone like Wolves, who we saw lost 4-0, it could be a great game at home. Wolves might be fired up to do better, obviously, than they did versus Manchester City, but I think Trufer is still a great asset. If you look on the bench, it's just all £4 million players. Just because on a free hit, really, you don't need anyone, to be honest. I've just picked them ones because they've good fixtures. If anything goes wrong, they can sub in. But I wouldn't go all out on the bench. However, in saying that, this draft does actually have money left in the bank. I have made it so everyone should be able to afford it. You should have round about 0.8 to 0.9 to maybe even a mil left in the bank. So if you want to go a bit more out on the bench, if you want to spend it on a defender, you get someone like a Daniel Munoz in versus Forest. Do what you want if you want a defender, but yeah, I've just made this draft so everyone is able to afford it. Moving on to the midfield, obviously, as you can see, I've added Antoine Semenyo. With that performance versus Liverpool, if he's going to do that somewhere like Anfield, surely he can recreate it at home to Wolves. He could be on penalties, however, I think it will be Evan Nilsson, but, if Evan Nilsson's been subbed off, they get a pen, Semenyo will be on them, so it makes him an even better asset, really. Morgan Rogers, I think, versus Brentford. Brentford did not look great, so hopefully he can sort of gain some form versus them and look a lot better than he did versus Newcastle. Because the issue is versus Newcastle, Newcastle just defended so well you couldn't really do much, to be honest. But versus a weaker opponent like someone like Brentford, it should be a lot easier for him. Bruno Fernandes again versus a weakened opponent, versus someone like Fulham, it should be a lot easier. Hopefully, there are a lot of away games in this team, but it's just how the fixtures have fallen. You can't do much about that. But yeah, he was very close to DEFCON last game. He should have had a penalty, so I think he's definitely still a good asset. And Burma and Cunha could look to be better value as we move on down the season, but for now, I'd stick with Bruno Fernandes. Reinders, I don't think you can go without him. It's going to be his first game at the Etihad. We saw what he did versus Wolves. He looked absolutely amazing. So I would definitely pick Tajani Reinders in my team. On the bench, just another cheap option in Joshua King. I think I didn't watch the game, but apparently he looked really, really good versus Brighton. So again, just for your bench, a cheap option if you need him. And finally, moving on to the attackers, we have spent very, very big here. There are options you could go for, such as, Chris Wood, Jean-Philippe Mateta. However, I think these three for this game week are great. Victor Gyökeres, apparently Kai Havertz has been injured, so I've taken that into account, and I'm pretty certain Gyökeres will start, so I've put him in. Ollie Watkins, we all know he likes a goal versus his old club Brentford, so hopefully he can recreate that and do that again. I've personally got him in my team. I know a lot of you will, so I'm hoping on that as well. So yeah, 2 9 million assets in him and Victor Gyökeres. I understand Gyökeres didn't look great versus Man U, but again, Man U did look very solid. And the thing is, versus someone like Leeds at home, he might get that home Premier League debut goal. And the thing is, if Kai Havertz is out, it's a bigger chance he's going to get 90. So I definitely take that risk. And finally, the last striker, Erling Haaland. I think he's definitely going to score versus Tottenham, to be honest. I think he will have a good game, and I am quite scared not owning him. The only downside to this draft is there is no Salah, there's no Palmer, but as I said, Palmer looked terrible last game. Salah, Newcastle away. I mean, if you want to sort of recreated this draft to get Salah in, definitely do. But I think I would much rather have a front three of Haaland, Watkins, Gyökeres. There's also ways you could do it to get Saka in and maybe downgrade Gyökeres to someone like a Mark Gw. But for me, I'd go Gyökeres, Watkins, and Haaland. I think that looks like the most solid one. And this midfield is also very solid, and the defence is also very solid. But yeah, as I said, with this draft, you should have a bit of money left in the bank if you want to upgrade anyone. For me, I'm happy how it is, but if you wanted to upgrade a Semenyo to someone like an Mbermo and then change a Bruno, something like that, and obviously, there's always the option of getting rid of Erling Haaland and bringing in Mo Salah, or trying to accommodate both of them. But I just think on a free hit, there's not really much point. That's more of a, if you're going on a wild card. So that is it for now. Just a short video on, my free hit draft, what I would do if I free hitted. Obviously, I'm not this week. To be totally honest, I probably wouldn't recommend it unless you're playing really aggressive. You went for a bench boost in week 1. If not, I wouldn't recommend it. I think you've got to sort of trust your team. You've picked that team for a reason. So for me, you have to stick by it. That's why I wouldn't personally play an early wild card, this in game week 2 or game week 3. I would hold it until at least, game week 6 and just let your team sort of work for a bit. And if it's really not working by sort of game week 6, game week 7, then you can activate the wild card. Then for me, for my draft, I'm going to be using my free hit in game week 6 because I want to get Haaland in. I just think don't waste it. If you don't need to use it, don't use it. Anyways, that is it for the video for now. Thank you, as always, for watching. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. And I will be back with you at 9:30 tomorrow morning for my final team selection ahead of game week 2.